I am going to the American Music Awards. Not only am I going to the award show, but I'm actually going to be a fan on the red carpet. Often at these award shows, they have like a group of fans kind of like cheering everyone on, and there is an opportunity to interact with the artists as they enter the venue. So that's how I'm going to be spending my day. My foundation today, I'm using the Maybelline Superstay Skin Tint. Now, luckily, this is going to be inside, which I was super worried about. I thought we were going to be outside for this whole thing, and it's been hot in Vegas. I mean, like, just in time for the holiday, it hit 100 for the first time this year, and I was very concerned with being on the red carpet and getting exhausted, but we are going to be inside a hotel. The other kind of upside to this being inside is that I don't have to worry so much about SPF. And I'll tell you why that was also a concern of mine. I've been doing sort of like a skin detox where I'm doing a process of elimination in my skincare routine to see what the heck has been breaking me out, because there's been a lot of congestion in my skin and not a lot of new products. So I've had to slowly take things out of my routine to see what improves my skin. And unfortunately, the SPF I've been using that like has worked for me for years is suddenly breaking me out, and I don't know why. So I am going SPF free today, which obviously is not something that I'd necessarily recommend, but again, I'm gonna be inside. And also for heavily photographed events, SPF does tend to give flashback. So for like red carpet makeup, which is what we're doing today, typically that's not something that you incorporate into your routine. I actually don't typically use a primer with this skin tint. I find that this sits on the skin a lot more natural and stays long lasting more so when used straight on bare skin. Earlier today, I put on my La Roche-Posay Double Repair Moisturizer. That is the only base layer that I have on today. But personally, I think that this looks way better set on top to get if you need that extra blurring or setting. There are so many awards nowadays, like award ceremonies. What are y'all actually watching? Because I feel like there's so much overlap with the awards. We've like 2 or 3 that has to do with movies or movies and TV. And then we have obviously the Grammys, which I went to in February. That was that was probably one of the best Grammys in a while, just with the performances, the nominees. It was very girl power for sure. But the difference with the American Music Awards is that America votes, or I don't know, do they check to see if you're in America, or can like anybody vote? Because you just vote online or on Instagram. That's kind of the cool part, is that this is definitely more fan-centric versus the Grammys, which is the Recording Academy voting, so people who are in the industry. I'm excited to see if it kind of mirrors the Grammys or if it's completely different when fans are in charge of voting, because y'all know Taylor did not win anything at the Grammys, which was kind of shocking. I realized I did not tell you what I used on my brows. For my brows, I was just using the NYX Micro Brow Pencil. I am going to set my brows with the L'Oreal Brow Lamination Gel. This has been my go-to lately because it really is holding my brows in place all day without giving them like a hard cast, which a lot of the like heavy duty brow gels do, especially because I have such dark brows. I am priming my eyes with the e.l.f. Lock It Down primer. I do plan on doing sort of a red carpet smoky eye today because I feel like the grunge kind of black smoky eye is coming back to red carpet looks, just from what we've seen at the Grammys and at the Oscars and at the Met Gala for sure. There were so many smoky eyes. And y'all know I was a little baby emo in the early 2000s, so I love me a good black smoky eye. So that is my plan today. In case y'all are like, how are you going? You know, how did you get into this? I did talk about it a little bit in my Grammys video, but I often apply for these sort of like production opportunities to be seat fillers, or I guess you could call them extras as well, but specifically for music televised music events where they just need more bodies in the venue. So sometimes it has to do with they need people to fill seats when people get up to go to the bathroom, so that way on camera it doesn't look like there's a bunch of empty seats, because that's kind of embarrassing for the show. And sometimes it's just that they want fans in the audience. They want people who are hyped and pumped up and like singing along to the song. So I did do it for the Grammys back in February. I've done it like 3 or 4 times for the iHeart Music Festival, which is also here in Vegas. I'm gonna go in with the e.l.f. Nude Mood palette. This is their all matte palette, and I just find a good solid neutral matte eyeshadow palette hard to find, but also very handy for a plethora of different looks. I'm going to use this cream shade here to set my primer. I'm going to be basically the screaming fan in back of the paparazzi photos. That's what I'm assuming this is. They just said that they needed fans for the red carpet to cheer on the artists as they come in. And I said, that sounds fun. And I have seen TikToks from people who do this sort of thing at other events, and the artists do come up and like interact with the fans, sign stuff, take photos. So hey, you never know. I'm gonna go into this middle brown here. In most cases, being a seat filler is not a paid job. Most of the time, you're just kind of getting in to whatever the exciting event is for free. However, this time it was actually supposed to be paid. They were gonna pay us like $100 to be there. But then last minute, they were like, actually, instead of paying you, we're just gonna let you into the actual award ceremony. Because at first, we were just gonna go to the red carpet, and I don't know, I guess they just want more people inside, so that was what they switched it to. I was kind of disappointed because I was like, hey, $100 to sit on the sidelines of the red carpet, that sounds fun. But it'll be cool to be inside. The performers this year, I will admit, I don't think it's as stacked of a lineup as the Grammys. It's definitely still cool. It'll be an experience. The thing is like, I told Christine, I was like, look, if Taylor is not there in person, I don't know if I'm gonna stay for the whole show, because that's one of the main reasons why I'm there. I gotta see what happens. We gotta manifest in person and have some Swiftie energy to get rep TV for sure. I'm going to go into this dark brown. It's kind of a weird lineup. Is it just me, or is the lineup kind of all over the place in terms of the performances? The actual nominees are pretty on point when it comes to mainstream music. And that's another thing, is I think the AMAs focus a little bit more on just mainstream versus the Grammys, where, you know, you have a lot of untelevised Grammys categories where they cover way more than what you see on TV, where you have like world artists and gospel and just a lot more categories. But the thing about the AMAs being more mainstream is that there's a lot of overlap. I realized looking at the nominations, like there are some people who are nominated for nearly everything unless it's just not their genre. Trying to get all the generations to watch. Sam, I think you're making a very, very good point. It's like they're trying to be everything everywhere all at once. It makes for just like a weird experience. I don't know. I don't want to talk crap about it until, you know, I'm there, and then I'll decide whether or not it's worth talking smack. I'm doing a really soft blend here before I start adding the black. I want the black smoky eye to really blend into the brown for that gradient. I am gonna bring that dark brown though onto my bottom lash line just a bit. For Artist of the Year, I mean, I think it would be pretty dang cool if Chapel won it, because she won Best New Artist at the Grammys. You know, Morgan Wallen, I think he just like ruined himself with the SNL situation. At least for me, like I had no problem with his music at all. There were songs that I liked. The one with isn't it with Post Malone? I had some help. But the whole SNL thing was so icky. It 100% gave me the ick. So I'm using the Essence Stay and Play Gel Eyeliner here. This is the Sigma E06 winged liner brush. You can use code /beauty for a discount at Sigma. So I'm going to load up the black liner onto my Sigma brush, and I will go ahead and zoom you in. So if y'all did not catch the Morgan Wallen thing, with SNL. So he was the musical guest, right? First strike was he was asked to like make a cameo in one of the skits, which is pretty normal. And it was like a very benign skit about how in New York, like with all of the weird pop-up restaurants and stuff lately, it's just turned into standing in line all the time. Like that was literally the joke of the whole skit, and it was a musical skit. It was a song about how you go to New York and all you do is stand in line. He said he didn't want to be a part of it, which is like kind of weird. It's like, you're at SNL. Participate, you know what I mean? So they ended up getting Joe Jonas instead to do that particular skit, which is kind of funny that Joe's just out here doing side quests. You know, he performs and it's whatever, he sounds fine. But, so you know how at the end of SNL, they have the host come out with like the whole cast, and they say, you know, thank you so much, and thank you to Morgan Wallen, and thanks for whatever. And then they kind of like all stay on screen while the credits roll. He literally like I forgot who was I think it was the woman from Anora was the host. You know, she's like, okay, thank you, good night. Immediately, he walks off, and he doesn't even walk off like side stage. He walks off in front of the camera and disappears. And it was like, that was really strange energy. And then on top of that, right after that happens, like 15 minutes after he leaves, he posted this goofy Instagram story of him like getting on the plane after the show with a caption, "Get me to God's country," as if being in New York was like so hard for him. It was just such goofy energy. They've done a lot of memeing of the whole "get me to God's country" thing, but if you've seen that around, that's what that's from, was him like storming off of SNL and then being like just kind of like uptight about the whole thing. It was so strange. But then he also tried to turn it into merch. He like made "Get Me to God's Country" shirts like 2 days later. It was weird. I'm going to use the Moira Prolong Priming Cream Shadow. This is kind of a double duty. You can use it as an eye base, you can use it as a gel liner, you can use it as a cream shadow. I'm gonna use this to kind of smoke out this wing. I just wanted to get the clean wing on before I went in with this. Okay, I'm just getting that nice and smoky, and then I'm gonna start blending with brown again. The thing with doing like a smoky, smudgy eye is, as much as you want it to look effortlessly messy, you want it to be controlled chaos. Back into that e.l.f. palette, I'm going to blend this black into the brown just for a little bit more of some smokiness. I'm gonna go into this darkest brown black shade, going right over where that black liner ended. And I am wearing just like a little black dress. They said to be classy but comfortable. So I have this little black dress with a built-in bra, and it's backless. For me, the built-in bra makes it's just so comfortable, and I don't have to worry about the whole backless situation and trying to find those sticky things that come off when you sweat, which has happened to me at a televised concert like this before. I wore those dumb sticky bra thingamabobs and they kept popping off, and it was a nightmare because I was literally front row on camera at this concert thing. Okay, I'm bringing that dark brown a little bit into this V just to get some more definition. For the lid, I was thinking of adding some glitter. Here, I'll swatch the options that I was thinking of. So I have this ColourPop Super Shock Shadow in Ripple, which is gonna add like a bluish purple shift. I also have a ColourPop glitter in La Mesa, which is more of a champagne with pink sparkle. Oh, I have this L'Oreal Shadow Stick that this would be a little more satin than glitter. It would be more just like a rose gold glow. I'm gonna use this first, and then maybe we can add glitter if I feel like we need it. But I'm just gonna use this to kind of highlight on the lid here. Yeah. I'm pretty much done with my shadow. Really happy with how this smoky eye came out. I'm gonna add mascara, but do I add lashes? Let's see how this looks with just mascara. L'Oreal Panorama Mascara. This is such a great, like long-lasting all-day mascara, sweat-proof, or maybe sweat-resistant, whatever. I've worn it in the South and it did not smudge off. It's been hard for some of my most recent events, like social events and special events, because I just donated a bunch of clothes. I've lost weight and nothing fit me in my closet anymore. And I've been kind of slow to buy new things, and the section of my closet that got hit the hardest in terms of needing to donate the most and not necessarily buying new stuff right away has been like the special event category. So I did make sure that I got a little black dress that fits me to just kind of wear everywhere. Let me add some liner under my lashes. I'm gonna contour with my Salt New York Sculpt and Bronze. So this is my custom Salt New York palette. This is a woman-owned makeup brand out of New York. The owner, Kiki, is a wonderful human being. This is a sustainable company because when they send you the makeup, they only come in these magnetic pans in paper envelopes, no packaging. So you can either buy one of their palettes, or if you already have a magnetic palette, you can just put it in there. But their makeup, they only have complexion products. So only like skin tint, contour, blush, highlight, and concealer. They are designed to look like your skin and just like melt in. So I really like their formulas. And I do have a code for Salt Beauty, 10% off with /beauty, and I linked it in the description. Okay, so I'm just adding this very softly. Because the eyes are so dark, I'm not trying to do like statement contour or statement bronze or anything like that. I'm keeping the rest of the face pretty natural, which is also why I wanted to use these products, because again, they just kind of melt into the skin. I think I'm also gonna go ahead and use her blush and highlight. So this is the Lip and Cheek in Mauve, and just one of my favorite kind of everyday cream cheek formulas. I'm gonna do that very lightly to add some color back to my face, but again, not trying to be a statement blush. I'm taking also the Salt New York, I think they call this their Radiant Refill, and let me tell you what shade this is in. Beige. Oh wait, let me add this this highlight to my brow bone as well. And add a little bit of glow, and I'll put some in the inner corner. I did this lip combo last night and I immediately was like, ooh, I think I kind of want to do this again tomorrow. The Maybelline Lifter Liner, this is in the shade Let's Bounce. It's almost like a brown mauve. There are some like pinkish undertones to it, but I think because we're doing like the grungy eye, it's kind of going into 90s territory. We've got J-Lo hosting, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to pair this with the ColourPop Ultra Glossy Lip in Lynx, which is a lighter, cool brown. The only thing I don't like about these pencils is that they sharpen like crap. If you haven't seen my review of these, please check it out, because a lot of people have told me that they're buying these, using them until they have to sharpen them, and then because they don't sharpen well, they're throwing them away. So I'm doing a combo. I'm gonna kind of fill in the corners here, and I think the formula's good. It's just the sharpening aspect is so annoying, because it'll just break right off when you try to sharpen it. Always remember to do this when you do your liner, because sometimes you can't see what's going on under your bottom lip and you're like, oh, that looks crazy, because my bottom lip kind of curls. So I've got that mostly blended in here, so that way it's not actually giving 90s brown lip liner vibes. We want it to be a little more updated than that. So now I can go in with my ColourPop gloss. I'm trying to decide if I should powder maybe a little bit around the nose. I do absolutely love this new About Face powder. It is the Curtain Call powder in the shade Veil. I also have their pink one, which is great for under the eyes if you have like darkish circles. So I'll go on either side of my nose and on my forehead and right under my eye. Ooh, no creasing. And around the chin and nose, under the nose, because that whenever I like blow my nose from allergies, that is the first part of my makeup that comes off. Oh my gosh, it just blurs my skin so much. I mean, I know we're on live stream, so it's gonna be a little blurry anyway, but pores wear. Milani Make It Last, this is the go-to. Get the large bottle. I mean, personally, I go through the little bottles so quickly that this is just such a better value. I think the brown really brings everything together and balances the face, because I know with smoky eyes, especially if we're talking about like the original Y2K smoky eye, that was often paired with a nude lip or rather a concealer lip. And while I think for nostalgia's sake, I'll always love that look, it is a little top heavy. And especially because my brows are almost black and I do use black brow pencils, it just looks really uneven when I go too nude on my lips when I've gone so heavy on my eyes. I think I'm deciding against lashes today. Yeah, I don't want to deal with the glue. Here is the finished look, right on time. I was hoping that we'd be kind of done by 11, I'm gonna eat, I'm gonna change. I'll see you guys later. The fit is a classic little black dress. I'm really prioritizing comfort because on the red carpet, I'm gonna be on my feet and just in a crowd for at least 3 hours. Now, production specifically told us to wear comfy shoes and that we won't be shown from the waist down. So I'm wearing my Mikos Nyla sneakers and bringing my JW Pay handbag for all of my essentials. Yes, I am someone who takes my Apple Watch everywhere with me. So we arrived at the hotel around 12:30 and started lining up. They told us that since we arrived early, we were going to be placed in front, we were going to be on camera, and to make sure to cheer and interact with the artists as much as possible, even if we didn't know who they were. But once we were at the carpet, the organizers said they didn't expect the barrier to be separating us and the artists so much, and the setup had been different just an hour prior. So now we were about 15 feet back behind the cameras. So they just let us know that like an hour ago, this wall between us and the purple carpet was not here. So we thought we were going to be a little closer, but we're still like as close as we can get, and there is still an opportunity to interact with people if they decide they want to like step over the rope and say hi to us. Basically everything they told us to expect went out the window with this new setup. The only thing we could really do is cheer and wave at the artists, but we stood there for like 3 hours and really only recognized a handful of people who walked the carpet, which was getting more and more bizarre as time went on because there were huge nominees for these awards, and that's what kind of got us there in the first place. And none of the artists could figure out how to get closer to us. It was only Heidi and Spencer from the Hills that actually squeezed through a small opening to come and interact with us. Absolutely love them. They were super kind. At around 5 p.m., they moved us inside and the show began, but the energy was just weird. J-Lo had her opening number dancing to other people's music. Also, the sound system inside was pretty bad. This is what we were hearing. Also, Gwen and Blake's performances were pre-taped 2 days prior, and I had a friend who did get paid to go to that, but the audience had no idea, so they were playing it on the screens and people were confused about where they were. Janet was exciting, but again, I could barely hear her. There have been rumors that production muted the crowd when they announced Taylor Swift during the Artist of the Year nominations, but this is what it sounded like in the theater. Taylor Swift. I thought maybe this box had Taylor Swift in it. I was clowning so hard all night. I was desperately hoping something interesting was going to happen, but it was actually for Renee Rapp, who honestly had the best performance of the night. Alex Warren actually had a really great performance as well and sounded amazing, but then suddenly Rod Stewart was on and the show abruptly ended after giving out like 6 awards in 2 hours.
What would we rate that show out of 10? Like this. Really? Because of Renee. Because of Renee. Renee, like, bumps it up a lot, so I love her. But, like, okay, without Renee, it would have been like a 4, 3.5, 4. Yeah. It was, I don't know, it was just real, it's not even that it was low budget, it was just lackluster. Yeah, and almost kind of irrelevant. I agree.
Y'all, that was the weirdest like TV taping award show I have ever been to, and I've been to quite a few. Most recently the Grammys in February, and boy was that a night and day difference. But I think the problem was nobody was there. I'm out, it is still light out, and I thought that I was gonna be out way later because there were so many categories, and then suddenly Rod Stewart comes on and they're like, okay, to close the show, you know, Rod Stewart Lifetime Achievement Award. And I'm like, you haven't given out more than half of the awards. And tickets were, at least like in the section that we were sitting, tickets were like $240. But I did it for the plot.